So I just literally got the news, like it literally just dropped on Twitter, that Sony music record label has dropped R. Kelly from their record label. It's literally just dropped. I'm just thinking, how fucking long did it take you? How long has this man been signed to Sony Music and you're only just dropping him now? I can't even like get my thoughts together, honestly. Like, this is madness. Now, don't get me wrong, because you know my previous video I did on R. Kelly. However, this based on this 6-part documentary that aired 2 weeks ago at the beginning of January. So, everybody's had time to, process and watch the documentary. However, if you've not watched the documentary and you've been a victim of sexual abuse, I would not advise you watching it unless you feel you can watch it. Then that's okay for you. However, if you feel you can't, then don't trust me, because it's horrific. Now, my problem is a lot of people are jumping on this whole bandwagon of getting rid of R. Kelly. For example, some artists are saying, oh, they no longer want to associate with R. Kelly. I'm like, but you did music with him a couple of years ago, so who the arsehole are you really fooling? Like, Sierra said that the remix to her song Promise, because R. Kelly was featured on a remix to that song, she says that she's removing it off iTunes and all streaming platforms. Now, my thing is, Sierra, really? So you mean to tell me back in 2006 or 2007, when her second album, The Evolution, dropped, you mean to tell me you was like an adult at that time? So you mean to tell me you chose to work with this man, and now, because of this whole controversy, you decide now that you no longer want that song available for streaming services? Oh, okay. And another thing that bothered me is a lot of people have gone and streamed and purchased R. Kelly's greatest hits, or whatever a song it's called. I mean, whatever album it's called, his greatest hits collection, the compilation or whatever. They've gone and purchased it, so it's actually charted on Billboard. However, that album was released back in 2014. So all his little fans talking about, oh, leave R. Kelly alone, I love all his music. You weren't purchasing that back in 2014, was you? That's why the shit flip-flopped all over the fucking charts. Actually, it didn't even chart. The only time it's charted, you mean to tell me it charted 5 years later, but not when it was actually released? And people don't seem to realise how dodgy that shit is. Yeah, my spider senses are tingling. I am not fooled by the bullshit. I'm seriously not fooled by the nonsense whatsoever. A lot of you are fucking fake. You're only doing this to jump on bandwagon. When I said I was no longer going to listen to R. Kelly, I meant that shit. I've not listened to his music for a good 12 months. Every time his fucking songs come on the damn radio, I will switch it off. If I listen to a playlist that has his music on it, then I will skip right over that shit. I'm not playing. And another person who stayed dead silent or is still following R. Kelly is, we got Kelly Rowland, we have Erykah Badu, who I absolutely love. I love her music, but she said that she says that R. Kelly is like a brother to her, so it's a very complicated situation. Do I cancel her as well because of her affiliation with R. Kelly, or do I continue to listen to her music knowing full well she considers that man a brother? This does not mean I don't think that R. Kelly should get some help. He should get some help. However, you can go see a therapist in jail, bruh. You can be behind bars and go see a therapist then. Because you cannot be out on the street molesting all these women and holding them fucking hostage, and no one sees a problem with that, especially considering the fact this is black women. This man is very, very sneaky and very clever with the victims he chooses. Someone said it on one of the other YouTube videos I watched, I think it was on the Impressive channel, that this guy picks victims that nobody gives a fuck about, and it's so true, because he goes after black girls and black women. I mean, look how long Aaliyah's been dead, 18 years almost, and yet people still consider her fast, even though she met and was introduced to R. Kelly by her uncle Barry Hankerson, who was a piece of shit himself, but that's for another day. But yes, he was the one who introduced her. So this is the interesting thing. Yeah, she was 12 years old. She was a fucking child. I don't hear none of this shit about she was fast. She was a child. Like, what the hell is wrong with you people? But yeah, Sony, it's a little bit too late for you to be dropping R. Kelly now. You should have done this years ago. These rumours have not just cropped up from anywhere. There's been rumours about this man for fucking years. For years. Did he not release that song, She's Got That Vibe, back in 1990 or in the early 90s? And he mentioned a lyric in that song, and she was just what, 12, 13 when he released that song, and you couldn't figure it out back then. Seriously? I'm not buying this bullshit. So Sony, you can fuck off. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you no clap in the hands. I'm not gonna give you no sticker. I'm not gonna give you no lollipop for doing what you should have done years ago. So ain't no congratulations around here. Ain't no body is going to be giving you no claps. Nobody's gonna be doing none of that shit. Okay, you should have cancelled this man years ago. You should have booted him off your record label years ago. But you left it until all this controversy rises from that documentary. You knew it was gonna happen. You should have done it months ago. I went to R. Kelly, getting your manager to threaten some of these victims. You are just deplorable. And I'm so glad that the police have gone after his manager as well. Seriously, what are you sending threats to these women for? Sending them threats, and then you wonder why now the police is after your backside. You see when you go to bed with the devil, you see what fucking happens to you. Okay, this is karma everywhere, and this man deserves it. Because I refuse to believe how you can watch in a documentary his own fucking former manager was there blatantly saying that yes, he saw him and Aaliyah get married. Yes, he saw R. Kelly in the studio with underage girls and they were bent over and all this kind of bullshit. And yet you still go and say, oh, he's innocent. Innocent mirrors. Look, all of you are gonna sink right along with him unless you jump shit now. Though don't think just because you jump shit, people are gonna give you a lifeboat. No, you can go drown if you want to. I honestly don't give a shit. So all of you are fucking disgusting. And Sony, you ain't gonna get no congratulations for doing what you fucking should have. Alright? I gone.